This is the sluggo, slant and go.
Oh, here we are, episode 75. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen your gorgeous faces. Well, it's been forever since I've seen your gorgeous faces. But 2 weeks since I've seen your faces. Lots of news to talk about tonight. But first thing we want to do is we want to congratulate Dr. Locks. I told you he'd be wearing that shirt, Casey. Didn't I tell you he'd be wearing that shirt?
Only on winning weeks. I've only worn it 4 times.
Dr. Locks is our champion for the year in picks. Now, let's see. How many fans do we have? We have 11 people watching. So here's what I want to say. I don't know if they know how you won this thing. Casey was on the verge of clinching if Jim Harbaugh wasn't at bleep, because all he needed to do, Michigan hits that under against Iowa, and Casey wins. But no, Harbaugh runs the score up, which gives Zach the over, so Zach wins the big money and the prize. And what'd you get, Zach?
I actually just had my servant get this out of the safe. Let's see here. It's on a royal, a red royal pillow.
Look at that.
Delivered to me, and here we are, boys. We got the we got this, and in honor of Coach Harbaugh, I did wear the khakis just for him.
Oh, look at that!
I figured I tucked the shirt in because I just kind of felt like Harbaugh was a t-shirt tucking guy. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but shout out Coach Harbaugh, saved the day. This is a mighty belt right here, Marty.
I know. No expense spared. I don't know how you can all that weight on your shoulder.
It'll wear a guy out, but someone's got to do it. Very proud to have it. Very proud to have it. That night was wild. That was a fun day of football for, I think, all of us. Maybe, at least the first game was wild. It was, and unfortunately, it went the way it did because you would have been right in the driver's seat. And it would have been even tight between all three of us, I think. So, but yeah, it was a battle back and forth. And honestly, I hadn't figured out the math until you guys figured out. That was what, 11 o'clock, 11:30, something like that. You're like, if this over hits, Zach's going to win. So here we are, boys. Yep.
I'm sad I'm in third place, and I think for next year, and we're going to do this as a requirement. Now the belt has to move around if you lose next year.
Sure.
But I was going to get a shirt and put, I lost to these two bozos, and have an arrow like this and me in the middle. Whoever loses has to go. It comes in last place. That's me. I'll have to do it for next year. I'll get a shirt saying I lost to these two losers and have arrows pointing that way. That's so, Beef, you've been awful quiet over there, and I know you're biting your tongue. So speak up.
It's funny, and my joke in our little group chat has always been, who'd I pick? Because I act like I don't remember. Sometimes I really don't remember, because after the show, I literally take my notes, I fold them up, and I put them in the shredder because no one needs to see these things. But truth be told, it stinks that I lost the way I did, but it was also awesome that I lost the way I did. It made the whole competition a whole lot of fun. It really did. It kept us engaged in it. I don't know if anybody out there was paying attention. I think we'd get messages from Nelson and John Chansey and the like. And they knew who we were picking, and it was just a lot of fun. It was really cool to do. It was a good way to do it, and so props to you, Marty, for figuring that out and being our math guy. Because,
absolutely.
Well, we know that
if you had us two bozos doing it,
it just wouldn't have happened. But this format, like we said over and over, is just by far fantastic.
great. Yeah.
Well, it is as cheap as it was. I think the belt added something to
Oh,
it.
Yeah,
Something
absolutely, man. And
Yeah.
this is not the last time you'll see this on the show. I mean, we're here to see you. And I do remember you showing it off here and there too.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, it'll be around. Don't you worry.
Absolutely.
Let me get this back in the safe.
In the safe, yes, and make sure the arm guards are there, and
That's right.
make sure the Scotch tape. You might want to put some more Scotch tape on the.
I got
coaster.
some ideas for it. Well, we might jazz it up even. You never know.
Oh
So,
yeah, add a little something to it every year. Nice,
I gotta say, y'all. I mean, knowing what we know now, I think next year could be like a for real up and down competition.
Yes,
Now we know how to bet a little better.
No
you know,
doubt.
because it was half a season of feeling out like how much and how to actually play it. There could have been that money line bet you had in Michigan State earlier in the year. You could have made a ton of money on it, but we just kind of figured out.
We were piddling.
And dumb me was acting like I was betting real money, right? $1.50.
Well, and I see Nelson's comment coming down the line here, but exactly what he said. We didn't know. But now we know. I think it's awesome that now we know. So maybe I do go bankrupt next year, like I threatened to do this year.
We'll lend you money at an exorbitant interest rate. But it was great that it came down to that last game on Saturday night. So much more fun than me winning by 10,000. Though that could have been fun too, but wasn't in the card, so to speak. And let's see,
Great to see you, Kevron. Sorry, before Marty goes on.
Oh, yeah.
I usually have to say hello every time. I apologize for that, for the delay here. Good to see you, Kevron. Always go Tigers.
And I don't know, Zach, I don't think I've told you this, but Casey wasn't real happy with he's being nice right now, but he and I actually talked during the week, and I tried to talk him into being gracious, loser. And I recorded a very brief conversation. I said, Casey, you and Zach have been friends for a long time. We have to be honorable gentlemen and concede to him.
Yeah. He
won the crown, and Casey said,
"Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass." Now.
True.
And
sounded like him.
And Casey, I don't know if you knew this, but I also talked to Zach this week. And Zach is on repeat. Here's Zach from our conversation earlier in the week.
Oh, kiss your boots if you can do it. But to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. In
Pooler, Georgia.
I'm the man. Man!
There it is.
Georgia.
Pooler, Georgia part just made it.
Kills me.
It never gets old. That thing's lasted a year and a half, and it still applies.
It still
applies.
Oh, so much fun, fellas. So much fun. We'll have to do it next year.
Sure.
And as the last place guy, my word to you guys is next year I'm going to get a shirt, and it's going to say I lost to these two losers. It's going to have arrows, and I'll be in the middle. That's my penalty, man. I mean, we're not doing the tattoo thing like you're, the fantasy guys get a tattoo.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, thank you. I want something less permanent.
Exactly.
So, anyway, hey guys, anything happened the last 2 weeks that we need to talk about? Pretty slow college football news, right?
For sure.
Okay, Clemson lost. Is there anybody left there? I know they got some 12 players today, theoretically. But Tony Elliott's at Virginia. Brent Venables is at Oklahoma, along with that turnip seed. God, I almost screwed that up. And players are all going to see Jeff Scott at South Florida. It seems like the transfer portal guys are headed south. Beef. And, of course, Dabo made some announcements yesterday that everybody knew what was happening already. Your takeaway, half the Clemson fans thinks this is a disaster waiting to happen. Half of them think that the other half are crazy because Dabo knows everything. I'm kind of in the middle. We've been texting with Nelson. He's kind of in the middle too about these changes. Kind of unprecedented territory. Precedented territory. Clemson lost some recruits, some bigger recruits. Your take on the last 2 weeks, Clemson-wise?
Man, what a roller coaster it's been. It's one of those things that you knew was going to happen, but you didn't know when it was going to happen, so it hurts when it happens, if that makes any sense. You knew Venables was going to have to leave for the perfect job, and unfortunately, when Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for USC, the perfect job opened up. And he was always rumored as being the number one choice. According to Castiglione, their AD there, he is the number one choice, and they got him. And he basically went home. I mean, more or less, he went home. The fan base is excited. He's excited. His family's excited. I think it's great for him. I think it was a great hire that he got Jeff Lebby, the offensive coordinator from Ole Miss, to join him as well. I think the Ted Roof defensive coordinator, Ted Roof's not a bad defensive coordinator. However, I think it shows that we know who's going to be calling the plays down there, and it's the head coach. As Ted was working under Brent Venables at Clemson, I'm okay with that move after letting it marinate for a few weeks or a few days, I guess. Tony Elliott going, great, good for him. Let Streeter come in. Locks and I actually know Streeter personally. We'll see. We'll see. I like the Wes Goodwin move. The more I saw the reaction from the players, I was worried sick that Andrew Makuba, the freshman safety, was going to be on the move somewhere, and it seemed like he gave him, after we translated the tweet into teenage speak. It looks like he's going to stay, so that's good. Yeah, and the 12 recruits today. I'm blabbing at this point, but the 12 recruits today, they filled holes. Losing recruits stinks, but when you have turnover in coaches, you're going to, especially a coach of the stature of Brent Venables.
Yeah, I'm able to translate some of those tweets with my 15-year-old over my shoulder, telling me FR means for real. That's a good thing in this case.
I Google.
I've done some of that too, but Parker was around and he can translate for me, because how I was telling Casey and Nelson, half of the half of the text he sends me are 2-letter words that I have to figure out all day. It's kind of like my crossword of the day. I didn't even bring up Dan Radakovich going to Miami, which, to me, as an older guy, I don't get it, right? He wants to go there and be surrounded by Luther Campbell and Michael Irvin telling him what to do, right? As a 63-year-old man. I don't get it, but I read his statement today. Still didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Talking about Miami's, how great it was to be at Miami. He was there for like 2 years or something, and I don't understand it, but that's his deal. And he's known, as Casey said when this first came up, as a builder of, or maybe it was Nelson, a builder of literal buildings, and that's what he's going to be tasked to do at Miami, build their facilities into what Clemson has.
He's a development guy. He's a development. He raises money and builds infrastructure. That's what he's been known to do at Georgia Tech, now at Clemson, and previous stops at LSU before out in the hand. This job makes way too much sense. He met his wife there. He got his master's there. Let him go. That's the least of Clemson fans' worries, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they hire the interim AD, Graham Neff, it's literally just plug and play. And he's probably one of the most sought after athletic directors or deputy athletic directors in the country. And so if Clemson can hold on to him, he's a Clemson guy, it would be a home run hire, and it would just be plug and play and keep going. Apply, rinse, repeat. Nothing's really going to change.
I was going to say that's a personal decision. It sounds like, he's 63, he's done this stuff. He's ready to go to Miami and finish up his career there. As somebody who's spent his career in a lot of, not entire career, but most of his career in a startup position and working in companies with 3 and 5 employees and starting from the bottom and seeing you build something up, I kind of get it. I don't know about it at 63, but I get the mindset. So, Locks, that's a lot of words. Your take on Clemson's last couple of weeks?
Well, I was going to bring up the point about Radakovich. The same thing. Like, it's clearly he's bored. He hit the glass ceiling at Clemson. He needed a new project to move on to, I think. And there's a dude throwing like a bag of money at a stadium down there. How much did he pledge? Like 50 mil or something, or more? 500. It was crazy. It was private investor. So yeah, he's going to have the funds. He's going to be able to, do what he wants. He has a blueprint, obviously, from Clemson building it up. So good for him. Like Casey said, I think that's probably least of worries. But I was with the coordinators. I was expecting Dabo just to move people up from within. I was hoping maybe he would have interviewed a few people. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I know what Venables and was making, and I know there's guys out there that you could bring in, but again, it doesn't make sense in the long run because there's a system in place too, and you have recruits that come for this system, so you just want to try and hold on to them in stability. But I guess just seeing maybe other programs bring in hired guns that can come in with a lot of star power and a name too. It was just there's so much in the social media right now with all this movement and players and coaches. They just kind of thought maybe there was a chance, maybe someone cool would come in, but I totally get it. I totally get it. I will mention, like I said, we knew Brandon Streeter, our roommate, used to be his roommate in freshman year, and I think everybody knows people that they grew up with that you would think would never turn into what they turn into, and I would put him in that category. I think it's great that he is what he is, but I had no idea until I started reading about that he was head coach and coordinator at Liberty and other schools. So, I mean, he's obviously been groomed for this position. I think we'll be good to go in that sense. Defensive side, I hope the same thing. Obviously, Dabo has had a plan, and it was good to hear him come out and speak, I think, yesterday too. Kind of made everybody get a deep breath and be like, look, we're going to be okay. And just hearing Casey say it doesn't make me feel good all the time. I like to hear it from the man in charge too. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of put a little sense of calm over everything. So I just hold on to those recruits and go get some more, fill the gaps. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, what I was trying to say was, Dabo has a plan. You may not agree with the plan, and it may not be a good plan, but you have to know the guy's plan. And I'm sure he's already got a plan for the next time. Okay, Streeter's going to be here 2 or 3 years, and he'll get a head job. And who's the next guy I'm going to build up? The other thing I'll say, and you guys know this from being in management, if you do not promote from within, people will leave, right? He specifically mentioned that Streeter said, he told, Streeter had a chance to leave 2 or 3 years ago. And he's like, hey, hold on, I got a plan. Someday Brent's going to, not Streeter, Goodwin. Don't go anywhere. I got a plan. Brent's eventually going to get a head coaching job. Just hang out here. And when he does, we'll move you up to the defensive coordinator. He had that plan. He communicated it to. It's very important for your people who work under you to know they have the upward mobility possibility if they do a good job.
Right.
Go ahead, Casey.
Just one more thing about the defection of Thad Turnipseed. Thad Turnipseed was Nick Saban's right hand man, building the infrastructure there at Alabama. Dabo got to pluck him away, I don't know, in 2008. Thad Turnipseed was the guy behind the Reeves Operations Center. So anything that you see in that beautiful building was masterminded by Thad Turnipseed. He's also a recruiting guru, so he's right there at the forefront, really helping. And he's the chief of staff for Brent. That's a huge get for Venables, and I truly believe Venables will see some success. I'm not saying national championships right off the bat, but he will see some success because he has a guy like Thad Turnipseed, a guy that not many Clemson fans know who he is, at his side.
Yeah,
haven't you?
Okay. Oh yeah, we did the door schedule for the Reeves Center, and he was in on every meeting. He's an impressive guy. Not a lot of personality, but he's an impressive guy.
Yeah, he's there, right?
Oh, he ran the show.
Yeah.
I fully agree. I wanted to get to that. I've almost switched 180 degrees on Venables at Oklahoma since it all happened. But back to the promotion from within. 157 years ago, I think, I worked at a job where there were 3 people, or two young ladies who had the hopes of being promoted when somebody left their position, and they didn't get the position. And that's not it. I mean, I don't know what the decision was or why they made that decision, but what the boss told them why they didn't get the decision was, I like you right where you are. And what went into their head and my head was, I never have a chance to get promoted here. I'm leaving. it's important to promote within. Not always. I don't know if this will work out, but it's really, really important for your employees to feel like they have a chance to move up. So on to Brent Venables in Oklahoma. When this first happened, I thought, what a disaster, because all their recruits were leaving. And my boy Spencer was leaving. We'll talk about that tonight too. But everybody was leaving. They're going to the SEC. Oh my God. And then it turned around, started turning, right? The news started getting better. That turnip seed's going and he's getting recruits. And I sent you guys a text where he stole a 4-star quarterback from Florida today or yesterday. And everybody was buying in, and the Oklahoma fans are excited. I don't know if that's real or fake, but everybody's excited now. And I think he's got a chance to do some really good things. Whether he ends up in the SEC East or West, who knows? And that could make a difference on how it works out for him. Maybe not, because Georgia, I think, just signed their 42nd recruit of the afternoon, 5-star. So I think he's got a chance to be successful. Casey, you mentioned you think he's got a chance to be successful, especially with turnip seed there. Locks, your thoughts on Brent at Oklahoma?
There's some hires that you see get made, in the nation, and you're like, that guy's got 4 years max. Like I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but we all know what I'm talking about. They got to be excited to have Brent Venables, especially with the defensive mind, the pedigree too, where he's coming from. He's got more than 4 years. He has to have more than 4 years, So give the guy a chance. And like you say, he's already making waves. So I expect some good things coming from him. And like I said, he's got the infrastructure surrounded around him. He's going to have the money. He's going to have the talent around him. Texas doing Texas things. He'll be able to steal recruits from them soon, I'm sure, so it'll work out fine in his favor. And going to the SEC isn't going to hurt either, because you're going to automatically get kids that want to be in the SEC just in general, and they're going to end up there themselves. So I think he'll be fine. It's just going to take a couple years, and he'll be all set. So I'm happy for him. I love the dude. What a personality. I've had a lot of people ask me here in Georgia if he's taking his get back coach with him as a head coach, if it's going to be the same type of thing. I haven't heard, but I would like to see how he reacts as just a head coach, if he's going to be as adamant. It'll be fun to see.
Smotherman went to Virginia with Tony Elliott.
Did he go?
Yeah, really? He was out of a job right after Venables went to Oklahoma. He was out of a job.
Yeah.
No, he's going to be the head strength and
conditioning. Is he the head? Yeah, yeah. He was working his way up too, man. That guy, he's enormous.
He got more TV time than Tony Elliott. Okay, let's jump to that. Tony Elliott to Virginia. Now, it seemed to be a battle between Virginia and Duke. I think he made the right choice. But that's me sitting here in Texas. Casey, Tony Elliott to Virginia, chances of success? Is he one of those 4-year guys? They don't have the money, or it seems like they don't have the desire to build out and pay billions of dollars like the guys in Miami, or have the billionaires at Virginia. What do you see for Tony Elliott's future?
I don't know why or where this comes from, but I really believe that Tony Elliott fits their culture there as a student base. He's such a smart guy. The stereotype of UVA students is very smart kids. I just feel like it fits, and I think Dabo said it to him, and Elliott said it in his presser the other day that Dabo was like, "This is the job. This is the one you need to take." He did the same thing with Jeff Scott for USF. I think Elliott has a chance to succeed, but I think the definition of success has to be brought into play here. What is success at Virginia? Is it winning the Coastal Division once every 3-4 years? Maybe. And I do believe that because he's such a good recruiter, he is a man of color, which helps in that DC metro area. It absolutely helps, no question. And he comes from the pedigree of Clemson. I'm sorry, Clemson haters, you may not like it, but Dabo has a culture that he has, and you can hear it in both Venables and Tony Elliott's press conferences. They basically sound like Dabo in some of the things that they're saying. So I really believe that if he sticks to his guns a little bit, I think Jeff Scott kind of went off the rails a little bit, especially with the transfer portal. But I think if Tony Elliott sticks to his guns and surrounds himself with good people, kind of like the pedigree that he came from, I think he will be successful. But I think the definition of success is one that is subjective, and one that Virginia fans only would have to define. If they want national championships, then Elliott will be gone in 4 years. If they want to compete for Coastal Division championships, I think he'll be there for as long as he wants to be.
All right, Locks.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Casey. I was thinking the same thing. 8-4. I mean, that's a solid season, and that should be, a mean average. If you can get more than that, you get 9 wins, you're killing it. 7, living okay. 6-6, you're not going to get fired. I don't think. I think you'll be okay. Make a bowl game. You miss one, you get one here and there. I think he could have a long career there if that's what he wants to do. Maybe he just wants to stay there for 6-7 years. Maybe he'll want to move on himself. We'll see. But the degree of success is definitely different there compared to Clemson, quite honestly.
Do you ever have a girlfriend that just clings on to something for hours and days and years and months and centuries? That's what Notre Dame fans are doing with Brian Kelly right now. There was a song, and I have a 4-year-old. He'll be 4 on Monday. Everyone calls him Slider around here. He watches that movie Frozen. I think it's Let It Go. Let It Go. I think that's it. I think that's what Notre Dame fans need to do.
Well,
Sorry.
Pauk in general doesn't let go of anything, right? In general, friend of the show, Michael Palkovich, checking in from Corpus Christi, Texas. And before we move on to some other coaching changes, we've already talked about Brian Kelly in previous shows, but Casey, I know Zach watched a lot of this, but Clemson soccer won the national championship.
I had it on. It was on.
It is the first soccer game I've watched the entire thing of since I had my butt in the stadium at Clemson in the 80s, right? And that game was exciting because it scored 27 seconds into it, but the Friday one was a little head nod, and I could not watch it. But Clemson Tigers, 3 national championships in soccer. Casey said he grew up around the game. So tell us about it, Casey.
Played it my whole life. I was a season ticket holder when I lived in Greenville of the Clemson men's soccer team. You too could be a season ticket holder of the Clemson soccer team for $40 in a dream. That's if you want the seat backs. If you don't want the seat backs, then it's $35. So yeah, big win. I say that half jokingly, because I am a big Clemson soccer fan. Always was. Even when we were in school, would always be at Riggs. They were great the other day. They've been great throughout this whole tournament. It's kind of funny. It's kind of a funny game because last year when they played in the spring, Clemson was clearly the number 1 team in the country. They were running roughshod over people and lost to Marshall in the second round. This year, they were clearly not the best team in the country, but they beat the number 1 overall seed, Oregon State. Then they beat the number 2 overall seed, Washington, in the final. They beat the number 4 overall seed, Notre Dame, which is always nice to beat them, especially when Pauk's watching our show. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had it on we had a little event here on the island, excuse me, humble brag, and I had it on my phone for the first half, but I was able to get to the second half and stream it in Spanish to one of my screens. But it was so good, man. It's so good to win a national title in anything, and especially a sport that I love and grew up playing my whole life. So you couldn't tell now with my body, but I did play a lot of years. And so congratulations to Coach Noonan. George Marks, the goalie, defensive MVP of the tournament. Isaiah Reed, who scored both goals in the national championship final, he got the offensive MVP. Oscar Agrin, who's the center back, he's up for the Herman Award, which is basically the Heisman Trophy for college soccer. Justin Liu, true leader, he played in the left back position, and it was just, they were a lot of fun. They loved each other, as Noonan said. And quite honestly, that brought them to the championship, man. They were awesome to watch.
They played really well, as far as I could tell. I'm not a soccer aficionado, but what I took out of that, Zach, was Casey was on a private island, driving a golf cart, speaking Spanish.
3 for 3.
I couldn't do it any different, Marty. I think you covered it.
Trace our trace.
Oh, there it is. He learned something. So, Zach? You watched the match?
I did turn the pitch on. And watched a little bit, not a lot. I heard the scoring on the text messages. I was like, ooh, they're scoring in soccer. I have to turn the television on, and then nothing else happened. So, but it was cool to see him win. A neat thing that I saw was on, I think it was on Clemson's Barstool account on Instagram, and they had one of the kids, I don't even know what the player's name is, was in the locker room. And he's holding the trophy in the shower and like slumped over.
That was the goalie, George Marks.
And then you slid it over, and it was the picture of Kobe Bryant in the shower holding the NBA trophy. He was imitating it. It was kind of funny. It was neat to see though, but very exciting. Always cool to win a national championship. I don't care what the sport is.
My shirt's on the way.
Very nice.
John Chancey says Marshall got hot when last year's championship. Clemson got hot when this year's championship. That very true. Yeah. They played really well, and the goalie George Marks you're talking about, just fantastic. They didn't come close to scoring on him.
Maybe the 2-point conversion in college football after the third overtime is the worst way to lose in sports, but I think losing in penalty kicks is just as bad because it's literally one-on-one, you and the goalie, and technically the goalie's not supposed to move until the ball's kicked. If they did that, it would be impossible as long as you put the ball on cage. George Marks made 2 saves in consecutive games in penalty kicks. Man, he was special. He's the all-time Clemson winner, and I believe. In goal, so we're gonna miss them next year, no question.
I told Parker, I said, "Hey, they won the national championship," and I said, "That's 3 now." And he says, "When did they win the others?" And I was like, "When I was there." And he's like, like soccer was different back then, right? Did they play with the same ball, or was it like a rock they kicked around?
Back when they used to call it Riggs Field instead of historic Riggs Field.
Yes,
right?
it was not historic. It was a stop on the way downtown when I was there.
It was brand new Riggs Field.
You're fired. That's a good one, Case.
That's how I felt it was like when we were there, man.
Don't ever do that again. One summer I spent in the quad there during summer school. It was the greatest summer of my life. Me and my roommate, I had a 4.0, and I don't even remember. I was taking like sex ed. Surprisingly, had a 4.0, and I was taking sex ed and some other underwater basket weaving or whatever to get my grade point average up. But we stayed in one of the quads there. It was like 3 minutes to Tigertown Tavern by foot. Yeah. Riggs Field was on the way. Yep. Best summer of my life. So anyway. All right, we've talked about Dan Radakovich going to Miami. Mario Cristobal gives up Oregon to go to Miami, which made more sense to me, not from the program, but he's from Miami, and his dad was a policeman there or something. But anyway, although of course Manny Diaz's dad was the mayor, they fired Manny. But anyway, Mario Cristobal leaves Oregon, but to go to Miami, and you get that with all the money flying around Miami these days. But Oregon, for a top program, they can't seem to keep a coach more than a couple of years. Locks, what's your take on Oregon and Cristobal going to Miami?
Did Oregon fill the position yet?
Yes, Dan Lanning.
Oh yeah, that's right, Lanning. Right, I forgot. My bad. I mean, it surprised me a little bit, but it kind of didn't because, like you said, it's like it's a revolving door up there. It was a little rough the way that they treated your boy Manny. I mean, I don't know. It was all played out in social media. It kind of seemed like it went down quick, and I think he kind of let him have it before he left and said that this could have been handled a little more professionally instead of out in the public the way it was. And I mean, I kind of don't blame him, but he scored a job too afterwards. So it is literally the carousel of coaching right now. It's wild.
Okay, Beef.
Yeah, I think it was the move. This was the move that mommy brought him home. Mama probably, or mommy brought him home because she's not in good health, and she has been sick, and so he's been back and forth. But he's a Miami boy through and through. I'm not big on his X's and O's. He's had some Jimmies and Joes at Oregon, but I don't know. He's got to surround himself. He's kind of latched on coattails of people a little bit. So I'm just not sold on Cristobal. He was at FIU, I believe, in Boca Raton. Then he went to the Saban rehab facility in Tuscaloosa for a year. Then he followed Willie Taggart to Oregon. Then when Taggart takes the Florida State job, he gets promoted to head coach. So, I think he's kind of ridden coattails. you know, the 2 games I watched Oregon play this year, 3 games I watched Oregon play this year, they beat the crap out of Ohio State, and they got their taken to the woodshed twice by Utah. So I'm just not sold on him as a program builder that I think Miami needs or expects or wants, especially to be paired with Radakovich, who didn't make the hire. That's another big thing that you have to think about. I'm just not sold on this. We'll see. He's a Miami guy, but so was, I mean, Manny was Cuban, so he fit in the quote culture. We'll see how it turns out. I think this might be what Locks was talking earlier about, a 4 and out. Unfortunately, because I grew up a Miami fan, but I just don't. He's the hot name, but I don't see it, and I could be completely wrong, like I normally am.
And I don't see it. I don't see it either. I didn't see Manny. And by the way, Casey.
I can't see.
By the way, Casey, Manny still is Cuban. You said Manny was Cuban. He still is Cuban.
I thought when you leave Miami, no.
Chancey says, I don't really expect Miami to change significantly on the field. I agree. It's got to be more. Maybe the money will help, and they'll get some players like the University of Texas has in the last few days, which is eye-opening. But those billionaires need to speak up. And early signing day would have been one of those days, and I didn't hear a thing about Miami today. Lincoln Riley, head coach of the Southern California Trojans. This started the snowball rolling. Started Brent Venables, not Vent Brenables. Vent Brenables going to Oklahoma, and everything that happened after that really started with Lincoln Riley going to Southern California. Beef, will he be successful there or will he not? What did I move you?
I think he'll be. I do think he'll be successful there. He's gonna rally the troops. He's gonna keep a lot of those in-state kids home. You saw right off the bat when he went to USC how many kids were flipping their commitment from Oklahoma to USC. You saw some people immediately screaming, "You should commit to the school, not to a coach." But in this day and age, that you're seeing that happen. You're seeing them commit to the coach. I mean, Clemson fans saw it with Venables. I do think he's going to be successful. I just think Lincoln Riley has a way, and his offense is explosive, that he's going to get kids, especially at the skill position in that LA area, that Inland Empire area. He's going to get those kids to stay. You have Mater Day, you got St. John Bosco, you got 2 of the top 5 programs in the country, not even the state. So the talent's going to be there if he keeps them, close by. I do think he's going to be successful. But again, brings me back to my overused phrase, what's success in the Pac-12? I think success at USC means playing for national championships. But right now, if he's just has to build the program back up, he's got some years. I think he's going to be 2 to 3 years before he's there at the national talk, though.
Locks?
These recruits.
With these recruits, right.
Locks, Lincoln Riley to Southern California. Your take?
They threw a bag of cash his way. That had been what was happening there. But I mean, I will not be the next coach at LSU. And later, I'm going to USC. Psych.
He didn't lie.
So, he didn't lie at all. But you can just tell there was something happening just in that press conference. The way he was so adamant about it. I'm like, you're a liar. You're just a bad liar. That's all you are. You're a bad liar. But I think it's a good move for him. I really do. For him personally, hit the glass ceiling in Oklahoma. Oklahoma with him coaching was the number 4 seed over and over. Go to USC, start over, build it up the way you want to, and keep those recruits there. Like Casey was saying, there's plenty that are sprinkled all across the United States. Heck, we got one. It's our quarterback. At Clemson. Georgia's got one too.
Heisman Trophy winner was from there.
From there too. So it's just crazy that they just have had some duds in place in California and can't keep them in place. But again, the degree of success, what are they going to expect there? That's the thing with being in LA. There's a lot of it's a myopic town. Like there's so much to do. There's so many other spotlights at the pro sports. You can kind of fly underneath the. Yeah, you like that?
What's
he
that
can kind of Google it. I just made it up. He can fly underneath the radar, is what I'm getting at, and have a 8-win season, a 9-win season for the first couple. But the pressure's going to be on in year 4, year 5, and I think he'll be there for for more than 4 years, like we were saying, the 4-year threshold. He'll cross that for sure there. So he'll get the benefit of the doubt.
As someone pointed out, and I think Casey alluded to just a minute ago, a lot of the top quarterbacks are from Southern California. You mentioned it too, Zach. They're spread out all over the country. And he's known as the quarterback guru. And that's why I picked Spencer Rattler to win the Heisman. I'm laughing at myself now. But that's why I picked him to win the Heisman, because he took, I don't want to say average, but he took above average quarterbacks and turned them into 400 yards a game. And, if you can do that, if you're from Southern California, you can stay in Southern California, you can do that. I mean, that's a good gig for a young high school or college dude. Okay, I don't know if Pauk's still hanging out or not, but Marcus Freeman in Notre Dame, I think the last time we talked, this was in the works or in discussion, but it wasn't a thing. I was skeptical. And if you think Wes Goodwin becoming Clemson's defensive coordinator is a leap, how about a guy who 2 years ago was the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati is now the head coach at Notre Dame? I understand the recruiting, and you need to recruit, obviously, to be successful. But untested coach at the head of Notre Dame. Locks, thoughts?
Put that comment up there. That's a solid stat there. The last head coach at Notre Dame who had a high level of success, who had no previous head coaching experience, was Newt Rockne, roughly a century ago. Thank you, John Chansey. That's a solid point to bring up.
I remember when Newt Rockne.
There it is. There's a handful of positions in the United States. Off the top of my head, it's Michigan, because they need a Michigan man to be their coach. Notre Dame is one of them, because everybody has to like him, and the coach has to be able to deal with the requirements of the student athlete there, for sure. So this guy's already in the program. He's obviously a solid coach. He's going to keep the recruits that they had coming in, which, like I said, is hard to do. I think it's a good move. I don't know how it could be bad at this point, because what's out there in the coaching carousel that is going to go to Notre Dame, other than Urban Meyer? No, I just keep on bringing that up, but just because I think it's funny. But I honestly don't know. I think it's a good move. Good luck. It's a hard position to fill, honestly, is all I can say. It's a tough go up there.
I'm thinking this might be a 4 or 5 year.
You think? Yeah. It could be. It very well could be. Because
think about it. He could go 10-2, and they're not going to be happy afterwards.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah. That's just my take. Beef, your take.
You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this.
National championship?
I am not a Notre Dame fan. I don't know how many people know this.
Elizabeth.
I absolutely love this hire. And I think it probably has a lot to do with just me personally. Like, I love the rah-rah stuff. I loved their commitment videos today that they put out for their commits that he was involved in. I like his charisma. I like the fact that somebody said that I think it was their AD, Jack Swarbrick, said that he uses Dabo Sweeney's model as something to thrive to be. I just think he's young. He's excited. His players love him. Now, could it go sideways? Yes. Do players always seem to love their head coach? Yes. Did we always hear Muschamp players loved him? Yes. So I get it. I just love this hire for the community. They're a national brand. As much as we want to fight it and argue with it, and I mess with Pauk all the time over it, they're a national brand. They have fans all over the country. They literally do. What good, bad, and different. So they needed something like this, a splash, to kind of keep everybody together. And it was their version of a splash. I love this hire. I think he's there for as long as he wants to be there, because he can recruit.
Wow.
And once again, he's got to follow the blueprint. He probably, as a head coach, he probably don't want to be the coordinator, but he's got to surround himself. I think it was very telling that he was able to keep Tommy Rees and most of the staff. I think only one defection from his staff went to Brian Kelly, which is very telling on that end too.
Yeah, it works the other way too.
I hate to say this on public forum where we know that our resident Notre Dame fan is going to listen to it tomorrow, but I love this hire for Notre Dame.
You'll hear about that.
And I do not like Notre Dame. I don't know if you guys knew
Very
that.
clear. Crystal.
Don't think it's a necessarily bad hire. I guess I would just question if Clemson gets all the crap they got for hiring a wide receiver coach in 2008.
I'm in full agreement with you, Marty.
Yeah,
No question.
It's a totally different game, right? Brent Venables has been on the sideline for 20 years, and it's going to be totally different. Not just game days, one thing, but all during the week. You know, when they're having to answer the questions that Dabo answers about why they do this and how come you're wearing red pants instead of white, and how come this and that. It's really gonna be interesting to see. Let's talk about the transfer portal for a couple of minutes here, folks. Clemson has lost how many, Casey? 217, I think, in the transfer.
I think it's 7 officially.
The latest is one of your favorites, Joe, who's going to maybe he's working. I don't know. Going to play for Jeff Scott in South Florida, in your old stomping grounds down there. Things seems a little thin on the Clemson depth chart these days. And I made the joke on Twitter the other day. Locks it on Twitter, so he hadn't heard this dumb joke. But I said, "It's the Cheez-It is anybody left bowl?" Because Iowa State lost 5 guys in like 3 seconds, and they're opted out of the bowl game. So it's going to be like a high school game out there with like 38 people on each side, I think.
Haven't heard anything about Purdy or Brees Hall, but everybody else, it seemed like, from Iowa State, they lost 2 receivers, 2 linebackers, and some of them are depth position guys, but some of them were actually impact players. So they lost 12. Clemson's lost 7. I love the Joe to USF. I think that's the perfect spot for him. He was buried. It was pretty telling in the South Carolina game when the depth chart came out and Will Sweeney was ahead of him on the depth chart. So I don't know if he was in the love shack, as Dabo says, for not being able to block. That seems to be a common theme on social media, or what, or if he was just raw and quite honestly, we missed on him, and we meaning the Clemson coaching staff. No, I didn't just get hired there. I think Ray Thornton, Joseph Charleston, I believe both decided to go to USF as well. You got Lynn J. Dixon decided to go to West Virginia. You know what I'm most happy about with these kids is that they're finding a home. That's a story for another day, maybe next week, the week after we delve into that a little bit. Maybe I write an article this week. I don't know. But there's a lot going on. It's been a while, writer's block. There's a lot going on in the portal, but I'm glad these 4 guys found their home.
Yeah, Lynn J. I'm happy for Lynn J. too. He wasn't going to play that much, and he wasn't going to play much at Clemson. But I did see that Dabo said we really, really need a running back this class. So would have been nice if, but he's not. It's kind of depth, right? They're not going to play in front of Malfa and Shipley and Pace. Yeah, so it's a depth kind of thing. So, Locks, your take on, you can either talk about the Clemson transfers or Bo Nix, Keaton Slovis, Zach Calzada, quarterback. It's a dream for coaches in that portal now. Now, Spencer Rattler to South Carolina.
I mean, to Spencer Rattler has to be brought up, Marty. Someone picked Spencer Rattler to win the Heisman, and I mean,
he's 7-1. Do you believe that? At South Carolina, he's 7-1. He's going to get crushed in about week 4.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll have to pick him next year too. I don't know. That's surprised me. I'm actually going to see my brother and sister-in-law that both went to USC this weekend, so I will hear plenty about that. I'm sure they are going crazy in Columbia right now over this. But just a lot of movement right now. Keaton Slovis still has 2 years of eligibility left. I mean, is he 26, 27 years old? This kid's been around forever, with the COVID rule and everything. It's crazy. There's a lot of movement. I was a little surprised at Bo Nix, but I mean, he's got to find a home somewhere. That's for sure. It's the Wild West. You can go where you want, whenever you want, and just pick your spot. As long as there's an opening, it's musical chairs. It's wild right now.
Well, you can do it. Well, at least last year, multiple times. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had guys been to 3 and 4 colleges, and I saw last week I was watching. I think it was last Friday night. I was watching the FCS playoff game. One guy was in his 8th year, and another guy was in his 7th year. I was like, what are they doing? They're older than beef over there, rolling around playing college football. So it is crazy and wild in the transfer portal, and it'll be interesting to see how these classes. Right, they're not limited to 25 this year, correct? They can do. I think it was 32. I think they could. Okay. I thought I read they were eligible.
I think you're right.
32 this year. So what's going to happen to these guys? They're going to transfer down the line. A lot of them are going to transfer somewhere else. Anything else that we haven't talked about tonight? We talked about the picks champion Locks with his belt.
If you want me to, I got it.
Out of the safe. You open that safe pretty quick, Locks.
Yeah, well, I can left it unlocked, but I can always.
That is nice and heavy.
God, it's shiny too. Look at that. My goodness gracious. Looks good.
Speaking of shiny, are you guys going to do chopping beef tomorrow night? Is the beef chopping?
We're doing Friday night this week. We're going to do Friday night. We have Sliders Christmas Extravaganza, which is sure to please the masses tomorrow. A bunch of 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds singing Christmas carols. Can't wait for that. That's tomorrow night. We're probably not going to get home till late. So we'll roll Friday. Whether or not we have locks is a game time decision. Probably not. So it might just be JJ and I waxing poetic.
Well, yeah, I always miss Locks, but sometimes you and JJ, because there's only 2 of you, and I miss Locks' expressions, right? Like JJ breathes and he goes. But anyway, a lot of fun.
It'll be fun.
A lot of fun on that show. So I'll get it up on Saturday on the website. 2 weeks, guys. Are we going to do in 2 weeks? Now, 2 weeks is the game, right? So I assume we'll be sitting around watching a game. Maybe we'll have to do an alternate night that week too. Tuesday or
it is Wednesday. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we'll have to do a Tuesday special if I don't know schedules. We'll talk about that.
Sure.
But,
should work.
And then picks for the championships, right?
Yes, that's why I wanted to have Locks back on. Locks is about ready to hit his off season here.
Yeah.
Hit his
the betting off season for the kid.
And celebrate his go on his tour, right?
Yeah.
Like Miss America, he's got to take the belt on tour and go around.
I don't see why not. I gotta go. I gotta head to Michigan, see Coach Harbaugh, give a big hug, man. Let him touch this thing.
Kimmel, Fallon, all of those guys.
Nelson clarifies they can take additional transfers this year, not incoming.
Joe Kimmel and Dave, but still, I mean, he's still got to go see a guy with the belt.
Hey, by the way, nothing is happening on SouthernNewsReserve.com. There's no articles or nothing. Chancey, I guess, is taking a break, right, John Chancey?
Christmas season.
Yeah, well-deserved break.
Yeah, a well-deserved break because he's been carrying that thing. Because I've been writing for the Astros website because they pay me $1 for every 600 million views. I'm at 48 cents now, I think. But I figured out. I told Casey this, Zach. I figured out the key to make money on those sites is to do the slideshows because every slide counts as a click. Right? Yeah,
I see what you're doing. Very
I raked in $1.78 last month.
Yeah, hustle.
But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of slideshows out there. So I've been neglecting. Chancey and I have been going back and forth on the Clemson basketball bets, though.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. We picked the games and the spreads, and I know nothing about it, so it's a lot of fun. There's Chancey. He was on vacation last week. Man, I forgot to mention that. Doesn't matter, Chancey. I appreciate anything you can contribute. It's been wonderful. It's been great having you, and I hope you used that gift card I gave you to the beer joint in Charleston. I can't remember the name.
Yes.
But I gave him a $25 gift card to a brewery owned by a Clemson grad in Mount Pleasant.
Nice.
So Ghost Monkey Brewery. I want to get that out there. Ghost Monkey Brewery.
You didn't get one? Are you looking for yours?
You
didn't I didn't get one. I didn't get my card.
Well, I did not get invited to the pooler party, by the way.
Hilton had
never had it.
And I didn't get invited to lunch tomorrow. And,
big times.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. Firehouse subs probably.
Cool. And I expect pictures with the belt. Casey reaching for it and Zach snatching it
And
out.
travel.
Snatching it out. That'll be classic if you go to Firehouse subs. Held up the belt. Oh, classic. All right. Casey, let's end this mess and get you guys out of here. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Might be back in 2 weeks or maybe 1 week and 6 days. We'll figure it out. Beef, take the people out of here.
Yeah, thanks so much to everyone in the Seldom News Reserve College Football Discussion Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for his not doing slideshows because he'll hunt Marty down. I'm in full agreement there. And for all his help. John Chancey for all his work except for this week because he's a slacker on seldomnewsreserve.com. Uncle John McGee, everyone on Seldom News Reserve Sluggo Podcast. Each and every one of you who listens, likes, shares, and participates on behalf of Zach Locks Parker, Marty Seldom News Reserve Coleman. I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you right here the next time on Sluggo.
Whenever that may be. Thanks, guys.
I think that sounds pretty good.